The United States Marine Corps Scout Sniper program trains some of the most lethal single shooters in modern American warfare. Candidates endure an 8-week course with an attrition rate above 60%, mastering stalking, camouflage, wind reading, and ballistics well beyond standard infantry training. A 2-man team, shooter and spotter, can operate alone behind enemy lines for days, moving inches per hour to close on a target undetected. Their signature weapon has evolved from bolt-action rifles to precision semi-automatics capable of confirmed kills past 1,000 yards. In Iraq and Afghanistan, individual scout snipers were credited with hundreds of confirmed kills combined, some becoming legendary for single deployments that shaped entire battles. But a confirmed sniper in an area can pin down an entire enemy unit, making snipers priority targets themselves. The British Army effectively invented modern military, sniping out of desperation in the trenches of World War I. Facing devastating losses from German sharpshooters using commercial hunting scopes, the British formed dedicated sniper sections, pairing marksmen with early telescopic sights and camouflage suits disguised as tree stumps or corpses. Training emphasized patience over aggression, since a sniper might wait motionless for an entire day for a single clean shot. Their presence turned no man's land into a killing field, where simply raising your head above a trench parapet could be fatal. British snipers are credited with breaking the confidence of German trench garrisons across multiple sectors of the Western Front. But the tactic also invited brutal retaliation, since captured snipers were frequently executed on the spot rather than taken prisoner. When the war ended, most nations dismantled their sniper programs. A mistake later conflicts would force them to reverse. Ottoman defenders at Gallipoli in 1915 turned static trench warfare into a sniper's nightmare for invading Allied troops. Local marksmen, many recruited from rural Anatolia for their hunting experience, used the peninsula's ridges and scrubland to devastating effect, picking off Australian, New Zealand, and British soldiers who exposed themselves even briefly. One sniper, remembered in Allied accounts only as Jane, became a feared legend among Anzac troops for her reported skill, though her true identity was never confirmed. Ottoman snipers forced entire Allied units to move only at night and dig deeper trenches just to survive daylight hours. Their effectiveness contributed directly to the stalemate that ultimately doomed the Gallipoli campaign. But the same terrain that hid them also trapped them, and many were killed by counter-sniper teams once Allied forces adapted. Nazi Germany's Wehrmacht built a formal Scharfschützen sniper corps after early war experience exposed how few German soldiers had proper marksmanship training. Snipers were pulled from infantry ranks based on proven shooting skill, then sent to dedicated schools to master camouflage, range estimation, and fieldcraft alongside new scoped rifles. On the Eastern Front, German snipers dug in during static engagements around cities like Stalingrad, where close urban terrain turned entire city blocks into sniper duels fought street by street. Their effectiveness forced the Red Army to develop its own counter-sniper doctrine almost overnight. German snipers racked up confirmed kill counts in the hundreds for their top marksmen, feared enough that Soviet troops developed specific tactics just to bait and expose them. But by the war's final years, German sniper numbers collapsed alongside the broader collapse of trained manpower, and the program never recovered before the war ended in 1945. The Soviet sniper movement of World War II turned marksmanship into mass propaganda and mass casualties at once. Trained through dedicated sniper schools, tens of thousands of Red Army snipers deployed across every front, including significant numbers of women recruited specifically for their reported patience and precision under fire. Lyudmila Pavlichenko became the most famous of them, credited with over 300 confirmed kills during the defense of Odessa and Sevastopol before being pulled from combat and sent on a wartime tour of the United States. Soviet snipers specialized in urban combat, turning the ruins of Stalingrad into a killing ground where individual marksmen like Vasily Zaitsev became legends used to boost national morale. Their tactics forced German troops into constant paranoia, since any shattered window or rubble pile could conceal a shooter. After the war, the Soviet sniper tradition became the doctrinal foundation for later Russian and Warsaw Pact marksman training. Finland's sniper legacy rests almost entirely on one name from the brutal Winter War of 1939 and 1940. Simo Häyhä, a farmer and hunter before the war, used a standard iron-sighted rifle rather than a scope, reasoning that scopes reflected light and gave away a shooter's position in the snow. Operating in temperatures that dropped below -40 degrees, wearing all-white camouflage and packing snow in his mouth to hide his breath, Häyhä is credited with over 500 confirmed kills in just over 3 months, the highest sniper total ever recorded in any war. Soviet forces reportedly nicknamed him the White Death and dedicated artillery strikes and counter-sniper teams specifically to hunt him down. He was hit in the jaw by a Soviet round in March 1940, surviving despite catastrophic injuries days before the war's end. Finland's tiny, outnumbered army used marksmen like Häyhä to inflict disproportionate losses on the invading Red Army, a case still taught in sniper doctrine today. The Marine Scout Sniper program found its defining legend during the Vietnam War through Carlos Hathcock, whose reputation grew so large that the North Vietnamese army placed a bounty on his life. Hathcock crawled undetected through open fields for days at a time to reach firing positions, once taking over 3 days and nights to close on a single high-value target without being spotted. He is credited with confirming 93 kills, though his real total is believed far higher since many engagements went unconfirmed by Marine Corps standards. His reputation for precision and patience became foundational to how the modern Marine sniper program still trains recruits decades later. He survived his tours despite being specifically hunted, only to later develop severe health complications from a burn injury sustained saving fellow Marines from a vehicle fire. Britain's modern Special Air Service and Royal Marine snipers have spent decades quietly pushing the technical limits of long-range shooting in combat. Selected only from within already elite Special Forces units, these snipers train extensively in extreme long-range ballistics, accounting for wind, humidity, and even the Earth's rotation on shots exceeding a mile. British and Allied snipers have repeatedly set and reset the world record for longest confirmed combat kill during operations in Afghanistan. Each record more a demonstration of technical mastery than a symbol of raw kill count. Their missions increasingly blend reconnaissance with precision strikes, providing real-time targeting data for larger operations rather than acting alone. But the same technology enabling mile-long shots is spreading to other nations' forces, narrowing Britain's technical edge year by year. Israel's military built its sniper doctrine around the country's unique, urban, and asymmetric combat environment, training marksmen within elite units like Duvdevan and the Gvardi Brigade's reconnaissance companies. Selection prioritizes psychological composure as much as marksmanship, since Israeli snipers frequently operate in densely populated areas where split-second judgment calls carry immense political weight. Training blends traditional long-range fieldcraft with close urban engagement, since many operations unfold at ranges far shorter than classical sniper doctrine assumes. Israeli snipers have played central roles in hostage situations and counter-terror operations where a single precise shot can end a crisis without wider casualties. But that same scrutiny means their operations face intense legal and political review after nearly every engagement, a level of oversight most military snipers never encounter. Russia's modern Spetsnaz sniper cadres inherited the Soviet Union's mass marksmanship tradition, but rebuilt it around small, highly specialized teams rather than mass deployment. Selection draws from across Russia's special forces, with candidates undergoing extended fieldcraft courses that blend Soviet-era doctrine with modern precision optics and suppressed weapon systems. Spetsnaz snipers have been documented in conflicts from Chechnya to Syria, often operating in close coordination with regular infantry to break sieges or eliminate high-value targets in contested cities. Their doctrine still echoes Stalingrad, emphasizing urban ambush positions and extreme patience over the long-range technical shooting favored by Western forces. That secrecy has only deepened their reputation, turning verified accomplishments and unconfirmed rumors into an inseparable part of their legend. What connects every name on this list isn't just accuracy, it's patience pushed to an inhuman extreme. Every sniper unit here won by being willing to do nothing, sometimes for days, until one single moment justified the wait. And as drones, thermal optics, and satellite surveillance spread across every battlefield on Earth, that ancient advantage, the ability to simply disappear, is the one even history's deadliest shooters may not get to keep. Which one of these units surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments.